Hi there, this is Chris with Peace of Mind Art and Crafts, and I'm here today to give you a little show and tell on how to make a spindle for your ribbon and different things you make with, like the snippet roll. I'll show you this. This is the snippet roll that I made on one video. Here's another part of it. And I got to thinking, I've seen those those old wooden spools that they have for sale on Etsy, and I would love to buy them, but they're kind of pricey. So I thought, well, could I make one of those? So what I did was I took an old or a used up ribbon spool that I had. Of course, these were bigger ones. And I made my own spools. So here's the ribbon that go around them. And so this is kind of the way that I can store them on these ribbon rolls. These spools that I made. And they're just made out of cardboard. This one that I made was using an existing ribbon roll that I had after the ribbon was finished. And we get a pin here and pin this. That's what I do. I just pin it in place. And then I can store it on a shelf. This one I made from scratch because I wanted a roll that would be taller. So I made this one, and this is holding my newest passion, which is making these fabric and embroidery rolls. I saw these on Rachel was doing them on Roxy Creations, and I believe her sister also does them, Sarah. And this is the spool I made for this one. Okay, so as I use them, I can still wrap them around. I probably won't use the whole thing at the same time. And I'll keep the ribbon off for now so that I can show you the finished spool. This is also one that I made from scratch. And I have around here my fabric ruffles, and another one of my my fabric snippet rolls, which are actually embroidered with the slow stitching and other stitches. I've been an embroiderer since I was a little girl. My mom taught me while I was growing up, so I've been doing it since I was like 7, and I really loved getting back into it. It's so fun. But anyway, so I made this one out of scratch also. This one, however, I didn't use the top of one of the ribbons, so it's not as thick as I'd like it to be. So if you do one without the top from the ribbons, which I get off the ribbons. Here's one that I got off the ribbons. I got both of them. I just took them right off. This one I'll show you. Just tear them right off. And this one, to me, was nice to have a smaller one, but it was way too narrow. So I'm going to make this one about this size. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit here. But this I can just discard. But these are fairly thick, so if I would have done this, I would have either used excuse me, the end to an old ribbon such as this and covered it excuse me or just use a heavier paper. I did put two papers together, and this one's fine. It's just not as sturdy as the other ones. So I'll put those away for now and leave this one out so I can show you how we make them. I thought this resembled the kind of wooden spools that they had in the old factories, where they would put lace around them or fabric or whatever they were making. And I believe they were also called bobbins or spools. And I start out with 2 pieces from a regular ribbon spool that was only probably about this wide, but I wanted it wider. So what I did was I cut open, or in half I should say, a wax paper roll. This was what came in the wax paper roll. It was just about the right thickness. This one also came off of I believe either a wax paper roll or aluminum foil roll, the cardboard that comes in there. So just save those up. Possibly a paper towel roll would work. I wouldn't try a toilet tissue roll. Those are, well, first of all, they're hard to come by these days, but I just didn't think that was very sanitary. Plus, I think they're wider than these. These are a good size. They're nice and narrow, so you can get a lot wound around there. Okay, so let me show you how I did. First of all, I cut a front and a back for each front and back that I had for the sides, and I just put the ribbon that I had right on the paper on the wrong side and traced around it. This time when and I'll talk as I'm cutting this out, this time I'm going to try to put a hole down the middle. These other ones I didn't put the hole down the middle, but I saw someone who had shipped a spool of ribbon to someone else, and they just tied it up, putting another piece of ribbon down through the tube, and then they tied it on the edge, so that kept the spool from going all over the place. So I'm just trying that to see if it might work. But if you don't want to do the hole in the middle, that's fine. Just cut out the size like this. This has a gray, kind of a gray paper on it, grayish blue. Okay, and the way I get this hole out, since I don't have that size punch, I think that's about a 3/4 inch circle. If you have a punch, that'd work great. But I just cut in from the side, and then I go around. I try to go on the inside of the ink. I get a little bit of extra on there, so the cardboard won't show as readily. And you can see after I get this glued down that you can't tell where the line it was cut. So now I have my two sides. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my let's see which side I have this on. Okay, I'm going to take my two sides, and I am going to ink them, give them a little bit of a distressed look. And you could do this after, but it's probably a better idea to do it ahead of time. Okay, and I'm using vintage photo on these, which I pretty much use for everything. I'm also kind of inking the hole that's around there. Okay, then after I get those inked, I'm going to glue them down to both sides of the top and bottom. Doesn't really matter, either one will work. And I chose prints that were kind of a little bit muted. No, I don't want anything to really stand out to compete with whatever ribbon I put around it. Excuse me. I have a frog in my throat today. Sorry about that. I'm going to use my art glitter glue. I'm going to apply it to the cardboard base. Try to get as close to that edge as possible. Apply the glue. Now this glue does stick pretty fast, so you have to be pretty fast, and you can't always just get exactly accurate, but you can certainly try. So I put it on there, and then immediately turn it so that you can look and see that all the sides are covered. And that's maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, then I'm going to go to the other side. And you can either glue. On the first time I glued this, it's probably better to glue that. I don't know why I didn't do that, but okay. Okay. Hi there. Sorry about the interruption. My camera ran out of battery, so I had to change the battery, but I'm back. And let's see, what I did while I was away was I put some rub-ons on here. A lot of times those old-fashioned wooden spools that that they used to have in the old factories, those vintage wooden spools, they had lettering on them, so that's kind of what I tried to duplicate. So what I'm going to do next is I have my two sides, and I have my my bare piece of tubing, cardboard tubing from the wax paper, and I cut it to size. I tried to get with the one end that I cut. I tried to get that as much as possible the same size, and then you can also kind of tamp it down a bit on the edge after you clip it off. So I got that pretty well right. And then I'm going to show you on this one. This is another one that I'm going to do. I took my my paper and I wound it around. I don't want it to go too much over, but I do want it to go a little bit over the other side. So I'm going to mark that with my pencil. And I'm going to cut that. Let me see here. See if I can get this on camera right. Right. Then I'm going to put the glue on the paper. And I want to get fairly close to the edges, especially the edge that's going to go along the outside. Okay. And I'm going to take my spool and gently place it on. Make sure I get it as even as I possibly can. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to gently wind it around, trying to keep it straight. If you don't have enough glue on here, which it doesn't seem like I do, so I'm going to go ahead and put another little bead of glue on here. This glue will dry really fast. Okay. And I can always kind of tamp it down. Now if you want to just cover over any white areas that might be showing, you can go ahead and do your thing on the edges of the tube and also on the edges of the, I've already done this, but on the edges of the top and bottom. Okay, so this is the one we're going to use for the smaller pieces, and I'm going to show you how to do the, I think I want these to be on the inside of the spool. By inside I mean like here, so you'll be able to see them better, or maybe like that. I'm not sure, but let's go ahead and try this. Now I am going to use my my 3-in-1 glue on this, just because it holds a little bit better. Okay. Seems like I've got a blob. I'm going to get a wet wipe out and fix that. I'm getting towards the end of this bottle, so it's a little bit, I'm going to run this bead around that outside circle. Now if I didn't cut an outside circle, then I could measure, where this is going to go. And what I like to do is I like to take it and with that glue you have time to kind of maneuver it, and then I turn it around to see if it's kind of even from each side out. I can wipe around with my wet wipe, make sure I get that excess glue off of there. I guess I determined I was going to put that on the top like that. These are wonderful, like on a shelf for you to display your ribbon rolls, or your ruffled ribbon rolls, your the different things you make that are like on a roll and make out of ribbon and stitching and so on. These are great for displaying those. And for storing them. Some people like them so much they don't want to even use them. They just like the way they look. You could also wrap yarn around them. Threads. Old lace that you're saving. Vintage lace would be pretty on them. Okay, so that one's pretty pretty well stuck. I'm going to wait a minute while that's drying somewhat before I show you another idea you can use them for. And we're going to kind of start with the smaller one here. Start from the beginning. And this pretty pink paper I want to use. So I'm going to trace around. This time I'm not going to put the hole in the middle. And you'll need 4. So you need 1 for each side. So if you want to change color, you can do that at this time. I'll just do these out of the same color. Excuse me. Now I've already covered the inside of what's going to be the inside, the spool part of this one with the brown, so that'll go really well with the pink, I think. Okay. So what I can do is cut out this section. Sometimes I use pencil to trace around, and then that way I can erase the edges if I need to. Sometimes I use an ink pen just so that I can see it better if it's on a double-sided paper that has on the back side it's harder to see the pencil, so I'll use a very good. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this around. Now would be the time to punch or to cut the hole if you want a hole in it. And also you can ink the edges before or after you put it on the ends of the spool cardboard. These are fairly sturdy, and I think they will last quite a bit for the use they're intended. Of course, I don't think they'll last as long as those good old wooden vintage ones. Oops. Try to get it very even there. Okay, I'm gonna ink it around. I don't know if I'll have time to do the other side, so I'm going to go ahead and show you again how I do the rub-ons. These rub-ons are kind of an old scrap-looking thing. They don't make them too much anymore. Tim Holtz makes them, I think. I like them. I think I'll put this round on here. If you wanted to take the time, you could actually rub on the letters that say what's going to be wound around the spool, but that would probably take forever. I don't know what that's from, but we'll go with it. Oh, that's from the travel. The word travel. Okay. Okay, then we'll also do one on the other side when we get it. We could probably do that now. Looks like some of the lettering has come off. Makes it look kind of old. So this piece is just a little bit too, sticking out a little bit too much on there, so I'm just going to trim it off a bit. You could do that on any of the areas where you really notice the white paper sticking out. Okay, and remember, on this one, I think I'm going to put the glue on the roll, since I don't have an exact center marked on there with the hole. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the end. This video is kind of a little bit scattered. I'm sorry that I ran out of battery. But since I don't know how to edit very well, I'll just have to piece the two together. Okay, and then we want to center it as best we can. Okay. And then we can let that dry, and then I'll do the other side later on. Okay, so here's the one that's finished. Here's the other one that's finished. Now this is the one that doesn't have the hole, and this is the one that has the hole. So what I was going to try to do was put through a piece of ribbon with a tube. I don't know if it's gonna go through there or not. Okay. There we go. That was easy enough. I feel it coming out this side. And I'm going to use this is to tie down the spool. This is an experiment, by the way. I haven't done one of these like this before. So we'll try it, see how it works. If you want a hole in yours. Okay. And let's take this one that we had. Try to get this on camera as best I can. Start up here kind of towards the top of the spool, and I'm going to kind of wind it around. And you can also, if you just have pieces of this instead of one great big long piece, you can put several on the same spool. And just use pins to kind of adhere it down. And then I'm going to go back up a bit with it. Okay, looks pretty. Okay, let's see if this works now. To tie it with this ribbon. I don't know. There we go. Just kind of for a different look. And if you want to make this spool look scratchy looking, scrunch it all up together and hold it in your hands and kind of put it around. The warmth of your hands will wrinkle it. There we go. Ribbon spool. I also use it for any. Let me get some of these fabric scraps that I've got on my ribbon ring. This would be another way to store. I've got my ribbon ring for storing fabric scraps and ribbon scraps and so on that are smaller, but if you have pieces that are bigger, you can use those to wrap around your spool as well. And then you can just keep going. Maybe pin it with a little pin. These pins will go right through the cardboard, so that's kind of nice. Okay. I'll finish this one up off camera. I'll have a smaller one. Very cool. Thank you for joining me today. This is Chris. I wish you peace of mind. Have a great day. Bye now.